Okay, we are recording.
All right, welcome to another episode of Drop Third Strike with myself, Terry Ganton, Chicago, Illinois, and my podcast partner, Beth Stavka in Denver, Colorado.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Legion of Fan, welcome to the party.
Yeah, and if you're watching instead of listening, yeah, I'm white. I'm really white.
Beth is very pale, lamenting the paleness,
Yeah,
but there's not much we can do about that.
No,
we
and as soon as as soon as the sun goes down, I'll be lit from within. And
you don't have a ring light on your computer, do you? You don't have like a ring light that
if I do, I don't know about it.
Ring lights are big physical things. Okay.
Oh, I would know. I have Christmas lights. See, I can.
Nice.
Yeah, I can light myself.
All right. That is not bad at all.
I don't know if I can. I don't know how long I can balance them. There, we'll try for a little while. No.
Well, your dance instructor would be very impressed if you could do a podcast with that balance in your head.
Well, if I could keep it like this while twirling, now that
would be impressive.
That would just be it. Yeah.
That would be impressive.
But as it is, I think I might say, look, this is a distraction. And but I'll leave it plugged in case I need the light. Okay. Hi, Terry.
Howdy.
Hi. So without any planning, except that we exchanged a quickie text, let us talk about what is, I believe, one of the biggest pieces of news since we last talked, which is the decision by Major League Baseball to designate the Negro Leagues a major league. Yep. Absolutely. What does that mean?
So right now, I don't think it means anything, but I think it's going to mean something at some point, because now that you're considering that a major league, what I'm waiting for, and it's kind of in a backhanded way, I don't know how this is going to come about, but I know it's going to happen. If you consider it a major league, so they might be thinking about it the same way they think about the Japanese league is like a major league. Like you're paying top dollar to bring over Japanese players. You know what I mean? You're not considering their records right alongside major league records per se. But you know when you're bidding, $200 million to be able to talk to a guy because he hit 35 home runs, you're considering that to be legit.
Yeah.
And there's guys in your own league who are saying, hold on a second. I hit 35 home runs and you're not paying me $200 million. What the shit? Right? Mm-hmm. So now what I'm waiting for is, since you're considering the Negro Leagues a major league, there's going to be a point in which people are going to be able to say, hey, historically, when we're talking about halls of fame, right? When we're talking about players who played in MLB who are eligible for the Hall of Fame, like on veterans committees and things like that, you're about to take in that guy that hasn't gotten into this point. But what I want to know is, why don't you put in some of these Negro League guys?
Uh-huh.
Right? Because basically it's the baseball writers voting for the Hall of Fame, right? Major League Baseball doesn't run the Hall of Fame. Right. So what we want to know now is, what's the deal here? Why aren't you now comparing those guys that you kept thinking of as a minor league all this time? Now are you considering their numbers, and do they belong in this Hall of Fame? And I'm waiting for the pushback on this thought. Mm-hmm. The only downside of this thought that I have is, what tends to happen is, if the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame starts including Negro League players in it, then people begin to not pay attention to the Negro League Hall of Fame in Kansas City.
That's what I worry.
It takes a back seat, and then it eventually goes away because now this thing is included over here in Cooperstown or whatever.
Right.
Like, I don't want that.
Nope.
Right. But I do want someone actively saying Josh Gibson, double duty. I want someone actively listing their numbers, right, as being as good as these guys they weren't allowed to play against.
Right.
Right. I want that talent to be recognized, and I want that talent to be discussed, and I want it to be put up there so that when we're talking about these guys who haven't made it in yet, who you're trying to vote in from back in the day, when I want their numbers to be compared to these guys.
Right.
I want Negro League players' numbers to be compared to guys going in right now.
Right.
Like, I just feel, so another thing that happened recently is Phil Niekro died, I believe yesterday, right?
Yes.
Phil Niekro died, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
When I see stats, right, of these guys who played he played 24 seasons, right? These guys who played a long time. Phil Niekro won 318 games, had a career ERA of 3.35. I can't believe I remember all this stuff, right? Like Phil Niekro had a hell of a career, right, on the knuckleball. What I want when this is being discussed down the road in baseball is, I want there to be he's in the Hall. I want there to be a fair conversation about the guys who didn't get the platitudes he got.
Yes.
Who did what he did, and now what you consider to be a major league.
Yes.
I think the problem with baseball to begin with is we only consider MLB to be the only thing we're ever talking about. And MLB is running around chasing all these foreign players constantly, but we're not talking about the environments these players play in. They're signing Cuba. The White Sox are going to have an all-Cuban team in 3 years, right? And no one is talking about what that, if like, how, wait, if you, they started what? They had a lineup this year that was the first lineup in the history of Major League Baseball that had 4 Cuban players in it. But no one is discussing the talent level of baseball in Cuba actively, right? We're only talking about it when we're getting a player to leave Cuba. We aren't talking about the players who stayed.
Right.
And I find that to be interesting. Like we don't do that because the it's like the Middle Ages when Earth was considered to be the center of the universe, right? Major League Baseball is the center of the universe.
Yes.
Baseball is the universe. Major League Baseball might not be the center of it in a conversation about baseball.
Right.
Sure, in a conversation about MLB it is, but if we're talking about talent, right? Why are you running around throwing money at this talent that is not you, like contiguous 48, lower 48 base? Why are you running around constantly talking about bringing that talent here, but never talking about where that talent resides and how much of it there might be there?
Right.
Then I noticed it's why like the KBO and the Japanese Baseball League, it's why these leagues have these rules about how many Americans can be signed, right? Because they're trying very well to preserve their game, right? The way their game exists without constantly, pulling over guys who basically would be somebody else's fifth outfielder or DH, right? Like, I understand that,
Yeah.
And guys are going over there playing and doing well and then getting new contracts here. So we never discuss those are the leagues, right? With the proper kind of reverence, in my opinion, I think.
Yeah. Interesting. So many things to talk about here. I'm going to start just by saying a word for Legion of Fan and hopefully Legion of Fans friends about white privilege, because I think this is a good place to say something about that when it comes to Phil Niekro. Phil Niekro is somebody that I not only admired a great deal as a baseball player and from what little I know of him as a human being, but he's somebody that I kind of identify with in a funny sort of a way.
You have a nail file in your back pocket? You carry a nail file.
All right. No, I don't. I may just need to start doing that.
Because the nail file never came up in any of these retrospectives I saw about Phil Niekro.
Yeah, you wouldn't. But excuse me. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Phil Niekro was the son of a coal miner. And
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and that's what my grandfather was as well, was a coal miner. And he actually left Wales because anybody who could get out of Wales was basically trying to get out of the coal mines.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of getting the hell out of the country. And yet he ended up mining over here for a while.
He had skills, yeah.
And so I get Phil Niekro's father being so adamant that Niekro figure out how to be a baseball player because that was his ticket out of coal mining.
Yes.
And you need that ticket out of coal mining. Now, a lot of people might say, yeah, but I've heard it. I've heard people say, well, African-American players faced a lot of adversity and they had a lot to get out of, but so did guys like Phil Niekro. Yes. And so I just want to say, yes, except that Phil Niekro was white. And so if he wanted to reinvent himself and get out of the mines, he had an easier path. And I just want to point that out. If anybody's struggling to understand white privilege, that's what it is. It doesn't mean that Phil Niekro.
I will backdoor this in a way because in addition to that, there's another thing that his father did for him at a very young age that matters for the baseball player Phil Niekro became. His father taught him the knuckleball.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He learned it from his dad. He learned it from his dad when he was a kid. And his dad basically taught him that pitch. And in my mind, it's like he taught him that pitch because without that pitch, he made the varsity team as a freshman.
Right.
With that pitch.
Right.
Right. Without that pitch, he's probably, for the amount of baseball talent there is in the country at the time, and baseball talent being scouted at the time, he's probably not all that immediately special.
Right.
Right. Without this one thing he can do that nobody else can do. right? So like it is that we know the dude won 318 games. We know that he had a shit ton of strikeouts, right? He played, he won 120 some odd games after the age of 40, right? And it's because of that pitch. It's the knuckleball. The thing he could do that nobody else could do, got him a career and extended his career.
Right.
Privilege there's so much privilege in the world of baseball, right?
Yeah.
But like in his particular case, like I'm going to say that a guy who makes a 24 season career on throwing a ball 70 miles an hour, right? It's the Jamie Moyer effect, right? It's the Jamie Moyer effect. Sometimes just kind of half sucking at something, right, will get you really far because everyone expects you to actually be excellent.
Yeah.
You know, like they're putting you so high in their estimation for your talent because you've had success that they're actually now going to perform worse against you, right? Because you are throwing a 70-mile-an-hour knuckleball to get outs. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like that. I find that to be really interesting here, and it's that like that expectation that he was great, right? That got that dude over because yes, you knew the damn knuckleball was coming, but you don't throw the knuckleball for strikes unless you swing at it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not locating it. I saw a thing that Bob Uecker said, which was Bob Uecker, as his catcher told him, Phil Niekro was trying to rely less on the knuckleball, and Bob Uecker was like, screw that, throw it more. Right? Yeah. You throw it, you're gonna win. The only way you're gonna win more games is you throw the knuckleball more. Throw it more. Throw it as much as you can, and leave it up to me to catch it. And Phil Niekro said that year he led the league he led the league. He didn't lead the league in strikeouts. I don't think it was that, but he led the league in something. Maybe it was strikeouts. But Bob Uecker led the league in pass balls.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right, because not catching the ball is on the catcher. Right. The catcher's not getting past balls on balls coming through the zone, right down the middle. He's missing low, he's missing outside, he's missing high. He doesn't know where the hell the ball is going. The knuckleball is unpredictable. Phil Niekro's not throwing it for location, right? So it's dudes swinging at the damn pitch, right, that are putting the man over. Yep. You know, and you're swinging at it because you think, oh man, I don't want to get struck out with a knuckleball. I better swing. Well, you know, you don't want to get struck out looking with the knuckleball. You want it, walk you. Yeah. Like that is what I find interesting. People basically went out there and made themselves perform worse in front of Phil Niekro, which just made the legend of Phil Niekro grow more. Right.
Do you remember, I know you remember Tim Wakefield.
Yes.
Do you remember that Tim Wakefield had like basically, this is my first time really coming up against the idea of the personal catcher.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember the guy's name, but Wakefield, the Red Sox had a catcher who caught Wakefield.
Wakefield, yes.
And they traded him to the Angels, I believe.
I think it's Jason Varitek.
No, it was another guy.
Well, not Jason Varitek. Okay.
I think they had another catcher, like a backup catcher, who always went to Wakefield, and I think they traded him or they let him go as a free agent, and then they only had Varitek, but Varitek couldn't catch Wakefield, and they had to go out and get that guy and bring him back. We can look at names later, but yeah, it really showed how crucial the catcher is to a success.
I remember Varitek didn't want to be in Boston, and he got traded to Seattle.
Yeah,
because he didn't like Boston for some reason, and I think he ended up back in Boston at some point. This is why I thought it was Varitek, but it might not be Varitek. Right.
Maybe it was, and there was somebody else, and Varitek was the guy that went and came back. We can look that up after we post. After, but yeah, that's okay. So Niekro, branching off the major leagues, and the first thing about the Negro Leagues becoming a major league. The first thing I noticed there that I already don't understand is that when you have Negro Leagues, you have an S, and when you have major leagues making the Negro Leagues a league, now you've lost the S. Now you've gone from plural to singular.
And English teachers all over the country are losing their minds reading sports pages.
I just asked myself, okay, what are we losing there? what do we have when we had Negro Leagues that we are now going to lose when they become a league?
So, yeah, I'm not even sure that Major League Baseball has the ability to actually do this thing. Effectively, the way the Negro Leagues worked they were a network of leagues,
yes.
Right? There were leagues all over the country with multiple teams within them.
Yes.
Right? Since Black players couldn't play in MLB, they could play in any of these regional leagues, right? Yes. That existed at the time. So Major League Baseball has to say, we're considering the Negro Leagues a major league because there are 50 of them, you know what I mean? Like there was some large number of them. So you can't say, we're only going to consider the Northeastern leagues, or we're only going to consider the Midwestern leagues. We're only going to consider the Texas leagues. Like that couldn't be a thing. You have to say all of them, right? Yes. Yes. But now they aren't, it would be real work on MLB's part, and I'd be very impressed if they went through the work to outline them like the Negro League Hall of Fame did, yes. Right? Like they went through the work to let you know yes. that this is how it was really set up, and here's what was really going down. Yes. And I don't know that Major League Baseball is going to have that in them. I think that, honestly, I kind of feel like the only reason they're considering the Negro Leagues as a major league is it's a down season, and they're trying to do anything they can to drum up interest, right? We will do all this promotion for Black players in Major League Baseball, provided they're no longer with us. Right? Like that's what it looks like to me in a way. Like there's really no reason to make this announcement right now. Right? You're not at an anniversary you're about to celebrate. Right? The Negro League Museum, the Negro League Hall of Fame already did this. So you're not there. So you're late on the party there. What are you doing this for? And I think it's one of the things so many times that baseball tries to do, Major League, the MLB tries to do, which is like show up very late to the party in order to do something that is promotionally beneficial to them, they think, right? But has no real teeth. Yep. In the end.
I see it as a, right, we don't know, but I see it as the low hanging fruit effect, right? So we have a surge, a national surge against social injustice.
Yes.
We have this over the summer, and we have a lot of that surrounding George Floyd, and so that there is a lot. It's spearheaded by Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter does not forget about other lives, and we'll talk about Cleveland here in a bit. But it's spearheaded by Black Lives Matter, and we have this extraordinary sight of baseball players kneeling during the national anthem, working together to raise black ribbons, the length of the infields, and that's just extraordinary. And I think if baseball could have prevented that, they would have. Oh, shame on me for saying that, because I'm saying that without evidence. I know I'm saying that without evidence.
Well, I mean, they many sports kind of dropped the ball on that whole kneeling thing.
Yeah.
You know, they really did kind of drop the ball on it. And Major League Baseball, they have to admit they don't have a large Black viewership anymore. They don't have a large Black player base anymore.
Right.
Right. So like Major League Baseball players are basically reluctant to do the kneeling and all that because there's just not many of them out there. Yeah.
You need solidarity.
We in one of our other podcasts, we were talking about the numbers of teams that had more than one Black baseball player on them. Right? It's a legit conversation. Some team had 4 and we were like, whoa. You know? So who the hell's kneeling?
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
You're looking for solidarity if you're kneeling, right? You look around and like the Cuban guy's probably trying to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? A couple Asian guys are like, wait, what are we doing? Like well, and possibly in their home country, there was also protests going on. It was a perfect time for everybody to be kneeling out that they were going to do it, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know? Hell, they didn't start playing until August.
Yeah.
Right? So like by the time they started playing, dust was settling.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that happened. And
all
then
the Floyd protests and everything were like, COVID happened and this happened at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So by the time we get to August and September, man, there's a lot of people who've kind of figured out what's going on already and they know where they stand. You know what I mean? Yeah, so exactly. I think Major League Baseball kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, it did. It did, because it didn't have to be bad guys and frown on it. Yep. And it didn't have to be, it didn't have to show up and support it. But it did cause some certain processes, machinery, and people it kicked them into gear. Yes. Right. And now I was reading, and I I think there are 4 different committees, diversity, that the whole diversity, equity, inclusion
yeah.
on across America,
Yep.
in public and private businesses and industries. But so Major League Baseball has one going on, and they've got like 4 committees, and then the Players Alliance shows up and starts doing, public things, local public things, traveling from city to city and making sure people have enough to eat, to the best of their ability. And it means that Major League Baseball, even in offices where there is reluctance to do anything, will do whatever's easiest first. And then as things get harder, it's going to.
That is very much the nature of Major League Baseball, to do whatever's easiest.
Yeah, they're gonna do whatever's easiest, and designating the Negro Leagues a major league is easy.
It is very easy. Yes.
Yeah. And that's the low-hanging fruit effect. So we'll pick the low-hanging fruit, and when the fruit is up high, we might resist climbing for it. We might delay it. I hate to.
All I know is I've heard in this year of social unrest and social change and social discussion, I've not heard Curt Flood's name mentioned a lot.
No, not at all. Well, he's that's a tough one, because a lot of people didn't stand up for him.
They sure didn't, but there's a lot of people benefiting from his work, right?
Yeah.
From his sacrifice. I won't say
everybody did.
Like,
yeah.
he literally, Curt Flood, fighting for free agency for Major League Baseball players to be released from conditions of permanent ownership. Lost his career, similar to the way that Colin Kaepernick lost his career for kneeling against police brutality and social injustice. But now, when you want to do things like designating the Negro Leagues a major league, you aren't also bringing awareness to the players who made it possible for guys to come over here, get drafted, come up through the minor leagues, play for a team for 3 years. We're having a discussion about service time on a weekly basis in Major League Baseball, even in the offseason, for white players who were like stellar college guys who came up and who were Rookie of the Year and MVP, and then like regular old players for the most part. And we're really concerned about when they get to become free agents so that they can sign their $275 million contract.
Right.
What's the name of the black guy who made it possible so that you could underachieve with 2 years of your contract and then pull that off?
Yeah, Curt Flood.
His name's Curt Flood, right? Like, it's that thing. That to me would be more impressive in this day and age if you're having that conversation that involves like social justice and wanting to be a real 21st century going into 2021 type of organization.
Yeah, that there is there would have to be a reckoning. There would have to be some kind of reckoning. We'll have to fact check myself, but it's one of the things that Curt Flood did, which Colin Kaepernick did not have to go to court, right, to make his case. This was a legal matter as far as contracts go. This stuff goes to the courts, and so Curt Flood was in court making his case. And I think the only one who showed up for him was Jackie Robinson.
Yes,
who was by that time retired.
I mean, that's also true. Yep.
Whereas active and retired Black players did not, especially active players, did not show up. And you can't blame them. Honestly, you can't.
This is one of these things too. I hear a lot of times when players like they retire and they're giving a retirement speech, and they're great players, right? Because nobody really cares if somebody is a bench guy who's the 25th man on the roster. He retires after 6 years. He played his entire career with one organization. No one cares, right? But when it's like a guy that right, who like Cal Ripken Jr. Like I played my entire career with the Orioles, right? And whenever I hear players go on and on about that, I played my entire career with this one organization thing. A lot of times I think to myself, yeah, you had the choice to do that thing.
Yes.
Right? You were successful and you were being compensated. So there was really no reason for you to not do that thing.
Yes.
Right. So you worked it out that way. Fantastic. But if the organization had said to you, not only are you going to be here the entire time, but you're going to basically, if you want to play, you'll sign for what we want to pay you. Right. That's an entirely different argument. So you get to say, I played my entire career with this one organization. Fantastic. But like, truthfully, it's to your benefit to not. Right? You need let somebody else be out of town stupid once in a while. All these guys are playing for that second and third contract. Somebody's got to be out of town stupid, right? Like, you might not be worth $250 million, but man, maybe you're worth $150 million. But if somebody's going to give you $225 million, you're going to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, if it's a choice to stay for your entire career with a team, that's wonderful. I mean, that's wonderful. That's solidarity.
There's benefits. You don't have to uproot your family. You like, there's a lot of stability in that, right? There's security and stability in that thing. But like, to me, I feel like the money that Major League Baseball owners make is it's so far and away beyond what players are capable of making in their careers. As far as I'm concerned, it is to your benefit to change teams just to make it hurt more.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Get their money now. Get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get their money now.
And again, Curt Flood. Thank you very much, man. That was a hero and a tough story. And it would be tough for Major League Baseball to be honest about it. I think they would find that tough. I hate to be pessimistic, but I'd rather it weren't the case. I think baseball historians would be very open about it. I don't think that as an official organization, it would be easy for me.
This is also why it is you want the historians telling the story, right? You don't want Major League Baseball crafting the story. You don't ever want the boss of any place crafting the story.
No, you don't want them in charge of the narrative.
No.
Yeah.
I want to know what the guy in the mailroom saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Or somebody who helped Curt Flood write his story and studied it deeply and understands the context. You were talking earlier about Major League Baseball seeing itself as the son of the baseball cosmos, right?
Yes.
But there are other places where baseball is a big, vital, amazing thing, and on its own terms without MLB. So being context sensitive and honoring the various centers of gravity of other leagues, it would be interesting to me to see how Major League Baseball decides to treat the Negro Leagues as a league.
Right.
And what would be lost if that drop of the S from league.
I'm gonna do a stat comparison at some point, just to have. I want to see the numbers of the Negro League's best players compared to same era of Major League Baseball's best and now Hall of Fame players, right?
Yep.
So because I really feel like if at the time you were doing this, some of these guys don't make it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to who wouldn't make it. I know I'm gonna find a lot of players I've never heard of.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But they're in the Hall of Fame now, right? So it kind of matters in a way.
Yep. Now there's something else that so there's what could be lost by assimilating the Negro Leagues.
Yes.
There's not just the integrity of how the leagues were set up and how they played within and amongst each other, right? But there's really a real concern about the Negro League Hall of Fame in Negro Leagues Hall of Fame in Kansas City, and what could happen to that. And I'm assuming and hoping, because this is low-hanging fruit, but necessary. I'm not saying don't pick it. But I'm hoping that Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame are taking steps to ensure that is not lost to us.
Right.
Give
them money.
Right. One of the wild fantasies I had.
This is a problem you throw money at. Yeah.
Yeah, you throw money at it. Exactly. One of the wild fantasies I had is that because I think you have to take steps. You can't just say, well, we won't do any Negro League stuff here in Cooperstown so that Kansas City will be safe. I don't think that'll work. I think you should literally have to take steps. And I don't know what they would be. One idea is maybe just you collect the entire museum and all of its assets from Kansas City and transport it to Cooperstown and set it up as is. What would be lost by doing that?
Personally, I believe you should take Cooperstown and move it to Kansas City.
Even better. Yeah, why not? I mean, Cooperstown is so inaccessible. Cooperstown
this is what I think you should do.
It's ridiculous. I flew into Albany once. I had to either take two separate flights. There's no Denver to Albany flights. They don't exist. So getting to Albany was this major pain in the ass. It took over 6.5 hours. And I'm buying a coffee or something at the Albany airport. And somebody said to me, hey, what are you doing here? It's not like that's a busy airport.
You're a tall woman. Why are you here?
And I was there for a college event, right? And I said as much, and they said, "Oh, we usually don't see anybody here except when people are coming through to Cooperstown for the Hall of Fame And I said, really, Cooperstown is near here? They said, yeah, we're the closest airport to Cooperstown. They'd seen, the cashier had seen Derek Jeter one year, and that had been very exciting and everything. But really, pretty much the Albany airport sleeps, until it's time for the inductions. And then it just wakes up with all this stuff going on. But you still have to get somehow from Albany to Cooperstown. You're not there yet. This is so inaccessible. And
how far is it from Albany to Cooperstown?
I don't know, but you have to rent a car and you have to get there, right? I don't even think there's a train. It's not like
no one's even put a train in yet.
and so I think it's very unfair to baseball fans that they put the Hall of Fame in a place that is so hard to get to. It's very unfair, and I have often complained to my heart.
In a weird sort of way, like if you think about like the history of sports in America, they probably did this at a time in which the bulk of America, for fans, for things like this, it's pile the family into the station wagon and drive for 12 hours.
Yes.
Right? So it's inaccessible to modern modes of transportation because now you need modern modes of transportation to get anywhere. Yes. But at the time, people weren't really doing that, right? It was no internet. People weren't like, collecting miles, like back then, baseball was family friendly, right? Schools, when it was the World Series, schools were letting the kids out early to go home and watch or listen to it or whatever, Like now, this is an issue.
Yeah.
If you want to, again, like you want people to celebrate this thing, you ought to make it easier for them to get there.
Right.
I'm a little surprised there is no direct like train line or subway or something. Like what can we do here in the future where we live to like straight up make it easy that if you can get to Albany, you can get to Cooperstown. Look, we have a shuttle. It's a monorail and it goes straight there.
Now that would be great, but I wonder if they could also get a monorail from Denver to Albany because it is pain in the ass. I mean, it really is. I haven't been back.
Did you have to fly? Did you have to fly to like New York City and then fly out to Albany? Or fly to Philly and then out to Albany?
I think I might have flown to Chicago and switched flights at O'Hare. I might have done that. Okay. But that one airline, and I can't remember what it's called. It's like super budget, and it's the one we used to. I mean, I think they all do this now, but it was the first one that had you. There were no reserved seats, and you were either in zone.
Wait. Okay, was this the time that I met you at Midway Airport?
No, that was another time that I was at Midway.
Because Midway is the one that's the super, but that's the Southwest airline thing. No assigned seats, no prices for check bags. Yeah, I bet they fly to Albany.
All right, 1 hour, 23 minutes from Albany to Cooperstown via I-88.
Wow, so now it's the distance between Chicago and Milwaukee.
So you can get a bus.
Yeah, that's 2 hours then.
Yep, $31. You get a bus.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh wait, here you got a train. You can take a taxi.
Sure. An hour and a half and a lift. That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll lift. Okay, so the bus takes 4 hours and 10 minutes.
Holy shit, because it's making stops. So it's the distance between Chicago to Milwaukee, but it takes almost as long as Chicago to Cincinnati. Holy shit.
I'm so sorry. I had to stop and laugh because I'm like, really?
It's a miracle anybody ever gets there.
There is a train, and that's 2.5 hours.
It's like, and if you move the Baseball Hall of Fame from Cooperstown to Kansas City, the people of Cooperstown are gonna cry bloody murder because this is the lifeblood of their entire town. Is this one thing? You know it is, right? Like it's impossible to get there in general. So it's got to be that once a year when baseball players and baseball fans show up, it's now the magical town.
Yeah,
but like nothing else is happening.
It's still the only place to get there is to pack the family into the station wagon.
You need goats. You got to ride goats to get there. Holy hell.
So I think this is tremendously unfair to baseball fans because I would never really care about going to an induction ceremony because I just basically don't like crowds, right?
Yeah.
But I would live at the Hall of Fame. I would go there, I'd be having my lunch, I'd be taking notes, I'd be reading everything, I'd be going, oh, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'd be so happy. Yes. Just put it in Kansas City. I can get to Kansas City.
You just don't want to go when someone's being inducted.
Yeah, I can load up
every other day, 364 days out of the year.
360. Well, we'll say 360 because there's the surrounding events and everything, and I'll miss that.
Oh,
but
sure.
yeah, so we have solved baseball once again. We are going to pack up Cooperstown and we're going to move it.
We're moving it to Kansas City.
We're going to put it in the backyard of the Negro Leagues Museum, in the backyard, and let's just rectify a little bit that way. I'm into that. I would probably consider moving to Kansas City at that point. I would just be in heaven, except I don't really like Royals fans. I'm sorry, Royals fans, but you threw stuff at Cano's parents and I don't like you.
They are like Philadelphia fans.
Yeah, they are. They are. And it's crazy because it's Kansas City. It's Kauffman Stadium.
Wasn't it real? Do you remember? It was, this is like the 90s. It was the 90s in Chicago when two Royals fans climbed out of the stands and attacked the first base coach for the White Sox.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you don't see that often, and you don't see that in too many parks.
What the shit? I'm pretty sure that was it, because I don't think there were White Sox fans who climbed the fence and attacked the Kansas City Royals first base coach.
I think White Sox fans would just throw things, right?
No, they just fight each other.
Yeah.
They're like, they're not going onto the field. They're not chucking shit on the field. They like the field. There's each other they have a problem with. Oh man, yeah, Kansas City. But I could drive there in a day. I could drive to Kansas City in a day. That would be a day trip. I'd have to stay overnight. I mean, I couldn't drive to Kansas. Sure, you're not driving back.
Get quality time at the Hall of Fame. But yeah, that's within reach for me. Yeah. And I would like that. So that
it might be like in the middle between the two of us. It might be because it's further away than St. Louis. You got to get past St. Louis to get there.
That's right.
And St. Louis is further away than Cincinnati, but it's like in a day, it's not that big a deal. You just get
you just kind of have to suck it up and get through Kansas. Yeah, which is really boring. It just is. There's no way around it. How do you drive from Chicago to Kansas City? What's your route?
I'm pretty sure it's aim for Springfield and keep going.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like without looking at a map, it's drive south.
Yep.
Because if you're in Chicago, everything you want to get to that ain't in Chicago is south.
It's south.
Just pick any southern direction.
Okay.
Right. And you're probably going to Champaign or Springfield. Mm-hmm. And then you look for a sign that says St. Louis and you head towards St. Louis, you go through it and go to Kansas City.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what you would do. Yeah.
Just like that. See?
For the most part. In fact, the when you're driving south on any highway here in Chicago, the sign for the major city is St. Louis.
Uh-huh.
Like there's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You have to kind of get outside of Chicago to see a sign that says Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Right? If you're going north, the sign that you see says Milwaukee. That's pretty easy. Or Rockford. And that's not leaving Illinois. Rockford's just Rockford.
Right.
No big deal, right? But like Milwaukee's a major city. So basically, if you just get on any highway going south, if it points south and it says St. Louis, you go that way, I would imagine. And then you look for, all right, look at that. I got the St. Louis. Fantastic. Where's Kansas City? It's going to be a sign for it. You just follow it. I've never driven. I've only flown into Kansas City.
Okay.
I've never driven that. So I haven't done that, And it's because in my recruitment days, in my recruiting days, St. Louis is a place that I went to every year.
Yep. Right. Yep. You watched a World Series from St. Louis.
I did.
2006.
Yes.
Yes.
I did.
I remember.
Because I was still at that university doing that job back when that happened.
Yeah. I remember you telling me, I'm in St. Louis. I'm like, oh.
I'm in Kansas City. I was in Kansas City and I was at a hotel. And like, here I am. I'm sitting in this hotel at the World Series. So this is great. This is fantastic. Holy shit.
That was fantastic. Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't know what's going to happen to leagues plural.
Yep.
We wish that baseball understood better the places where it recruits players from. And we are going to move the Hall of Fame to Kansas City.
We're moving it to Kansas City.
What? Okay, so here's my next question.
And it's only because the Negro League Museum is there.
Right.
If it was any place else, we'd pick that place.
Exactly.
We don't love Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, Kansas City, I think, has good food and good music. So it's a worthwhile choice. Yeah. So here's my next question. So Major League Baseball decides to, how are we going to say it? Acknowledge, designate. I don't know what verb we like here, but they decided to in-state the Negro Leagues as a major league. Does this have any meaning outside of Hall of Fame?
I don't think so. And it's just kind of how the sport actually works, right? Like when the season actually begins, I think they're going to stop talking about it.
Right.
So I think that it is only in a Hall of Fame context.
Right.
Like in a recognizing numbers, records, players beyond double duty and Jackie Robinson. You know what I mean? Like it's recognizing a larger body of individuals and their work.
Yeah.
Right? Recognizing the work of a significant amount of management.
Yep.
I think that matters. But what I want to know is when fans are back, do they put the push on to educate their own fan base?
Yeah.
Right. And sports fan bases have a real genetic predisposition to not being educated about shit.
Right.
Right. They don't like it. Like they really, the more beer you serve them, the louder they become about wanting to remain ignorant to what got them there. Right.
Yeah.
And so I kind of feel like you need to put the press on to alert folks to what they missed out on historically.
Right.
You know,
right.
For all the strikeouts Don Drysdale had in his career, which hitters was he not pitching to?
Right.
For all of the strikeouts that like I don't know, like other like Fernando Valenzuela had, right? It's fantastic, right? He's high up on a list, right? Would he be further down on that list if some Negro League players were included in that list of great pitchers?
Yes.
Right? It's that kind of thing. For all the home runs. What's that?
Well, see, this is the thing that I get, an area where I feel like some real excitement is warranted, because if the main effect of recognizing, that's the one we'll use, recognizing the Negro Leagues as a major league, if the net effect of that is that Negro League players have to be incorporated and treated and remembered and ranked as major leaguers,
yes,
then it's a thrill and a delight. I'm excited for
that's what
anybody that does that work.
People love talking about Babe Ruth's home runs. Only some people talk about Sadahara O. Do you know what I mean? I want this discussion to be had now, like straight up. Like if we're talking about who hit the most home runs, if we're talking about who threw the most strikeouts, who stole the most bases, who had the most outfield assists in the sport of baseball, right? In the sport of baseball, now I want someone out there being like, well, now if they're a major league, you know, if you're counting them, this counts now.
And I'm excited about that. I want to see this happening. I want to see all of the stories get rewritten so that everybody's included. I want to see all of the numbers crunched so that everybody is faithfully and truthfully reflected. And I know that it's going to cause adjustments to leaderboards. It's going to cause adjustments to all-time records, right? I mean, big ones. And if I were in a position, which I'm not knowledgeable enough, but if I got to be one of those people to do that, to retell the stories in the right way.
There's honestly a good chance that you just might be, honestly. You know some people.
It would just be the coolest thing. I would love it. I would not necessarily be the one to show up at Fernando Valenzuela's house and tell him, okay, you were number 3, now you're number 27. I would not want to be that person, but it's going to happen. And I want to see it happen. I hope that everybody handles it with grace, because I think it's the most exciting thing to happen in forever. In that sense, to me, it is enormously meaningful. And I'm really, really excited about that. Really excited about that. Worried about what could be lost. Very much worried about that. And I'm really trusting the John Thorns of this world to not let stuff get lost.
Right.
You know, he's a great historian, and strikes me as being a man who will find it to be very welcome and also be prepared in advance to correct the historical narrative for the sake of the Hall of Fame. I'm really excited about that, but excited to see the numbers change. Excited. So that's
one of the reasons why I'm kind of like for this idea is my history as like a pro wrestling fan. Right? And I find them relatable because in the old days of pro wrestling, they had what was called a territory system, which was so many parts of the United States had like a guy who kind of had a wrestling league or wrestling company that was based around the state he was in, the city he was in, or a couple of states near his state, whatever, right? And all these guys are basically like, they were guys who owned car dealerships, but they also had an inn at a TV station, or they owned the TV station, or whatever. They owned some vehicle for getting their wrestling product onto screens in your area, wherever you work. So you're in Colorado, like, I forget the name of the guy who ran Denver, but because I want to say Phil Mushnick, but I don't think that was the right name. I can think of like guys like Harley Race who were Kansas City, but like you had someone in Denver who was like your guy, your wrestling promoter, right? And if you were watching wrestling in the 40s, 50s, 60s, everyone was watching their guy because you weren't getting a big national thing, right? But the NWA existed, it was a National Wrestling Alliance, and they had champions who would, like, when I grew up watching wrestling, Ric Flair was like the champion, right? He was like the NWA World Wrestling Champion, and he was the heavyweight champion of the world. But what he would do, because the territory system still existed until Vince McMahon fucked it all up, he would go from region to region to region and wrestle the top guy there and make that guy look like $1 million.
Wow.
Right? And it might be entirely possible that, like, whatever the level of wrestling was in, say, Denver, Colorado, in that area, that Ric Flair was head and shoulders better at this performance in this activity than whoever you had, right? But his job was to come in, he would show up, and he would hang out there for a month, 6 weeks, and wrestle all the top guys there, right? And he would make all of them look like the most amazing damn people in the ring versus him that he could, right? And then they would beat him and he'd have to like run out, he'd have to leave, right? But what it meant was when you saw your guy versus the best in the world, you knew you had something there and you paid more money for it, right? You showed you valued your guys more. Right? Because your guys were put up against these other guys and your guys did well, right? And then Ric Flair would, before your guys got exposed as not being as talented, would move on. Right. And he would just go to the next place. And I feel like what that did was it legitimized the entire nation's wrestling talent, ability, styles.
Sure
right?
did.
Having people who are absolutely working at the highest of levels travel, right, to promote what's already there. Ric Flair didn't come in and say, like, we're from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're from the Mid-Atlantic region. Like, Mid-Atlantic is the best. Let me show you why we're the best. You guys can't do half of what we can do. We just wreck you guys and then we'll leave. It was, you know who I am. I'm only here because you've got talent, right? Denver, right? I want to know who the best guy is here. And then he goes in there and lets that guy kick his butt, right? Because he's what he's trying to do is elevate the entire sport, right? Now, pro wrestling and Major League Baseball are not the same thing, right? Major League Baseball in general is clearly a competitive activity with no worked outcomes and these kind of things. But the idea is still the same, right? The idea is the same. We're talking baseball as a whole. It's still throw the ball to the guy with the bat, catch that ball, get a guy out. The game doesn't change just because you're the Phillies versus and not the Monarchs, right? It doesn't matter, right? The game doesn't change. The game's still a game, right? The dimensions of the majority of the field are the same, if not the dimensions of the building. The mound is the same distance from home plate. The mound was not further or closer in the Negro Leagues. Right. The mound might have been higher or lower. Right. But like Major League Baseball had to lower the mound at some point because Bob Gibson was kicking people's asses.
That's right.
They were terrified of that brother, like throwing balls at him like, we need to do something about this dude. It's literally impossible to hit this man. Another dude we lost this year. We can't hit Bob Gibson. We need you to change the rules. Thank you very much. Right. That became Bob Gibson's like, man, he talked about it all the time. I was so good that day. Why not, man? Own it. If it was me, I'd be talking about it too. That's it. When we're discussing the Negro Leagues in the context of Major League Baseball not being a major league, we're talking about the fact that you got a Bob Gibson in the major leagues, but how many Bob Gibsons did you not get? Yeah, that's exactly it. And we're hopefully going to find out. Hopefully, even if this is low-hanging fruit, even if this was an easy way for Major League Baseball in a slow news cycle to do something that's right, but that was easy,
the great stuff. I'm serious about this. I really think there are a lot of people who are excited to roll up their sleeves and correct the record. I am excited for them, and I really can't wait to see what happens. And I just can't wait. And there's a small precedent which should help us be less, those of us who maybe aren't eager for this like I am, but there's a precedent for this, and it's the whole argument over Ichiro.
Yeah.
And do you include his Japan stats with his America stats, or do you exclude his Japan stats and just look at his America stats? Now we're talking about one player, so it's easy to take it lightly, not for Ichiro, but for everybody else, because it's just one player, right? And good arguments, I suppose, were made for just the American stats. There is a context difference, yes, but we've heard that argument over and over and over.
But now that we're discussing, now that we're going Hall of Fame,
yeah.
To me, Ichiro's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, absolutely.
Even based on his MLB stats, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. But what I want to say is, you recruited that man to come over here from Japan because of his Japanese stats. Count him.
Count him. Yeah.
Count him.
Well, I really want them counted because you have things like who got the most hits. You have things like who had the highest batting average for the longest streak. You have these things. Yep. These are rankings. You were number 1, you were number 2, you were number 3. If you exclude a whole domain of stats, you have defined for that player where he gets to sit in that list.
Yes.
And you have told other players what they have to do to get on that list.
I would even accept, now that we have advanced stats, right?
Yeah.
I would even accept a system in which you can rank where some of these other years fall. Right? It's possible to say, we talk about things like the dead ball era.
Yeah.
Dead ball era exists for a reason, right? We can talk about the fact that he's pitching and he's hitting against like Japanese talent, not major league talent, whatever, but he still got hits, right? What I know about the dude's talent was that when he got here, he performed. Yeah. He was the only player I ever saw who would come to bat. In his at bat, when he hit the ball, he was able to hit the ball for a hit while also already running to first base.
Yes, I know. I can do this in other ones. Yeah.
I have never seen anyone else bat in this way. The man was swinging and running at the same time.
Yep.
Right? You were screw throwing him out because he'd already taken a step towards home plate and it just hit the damn ball. Yeah. Like, that dude's an amazing player. I say count all of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This is also going to mean you're going to have to count those Cuban players and their stats before they came over here. Yeah. Count all of it.
Yeah. Well, you should, because
you can rank it. It can be ranked.
Our guys are not winning the World Baseball Classic. Those guys are winning the World Baseball Classic. So count their stats, people.
And dancing while they do it. So like, if I were doing this in an Excel spreadsheet, I would just rank those leagues. Yeah. Right. I'd rank those leagues in terms of like a sort of a level of competition or a level of performance, and you can just color code those early years to be red for hot years with great talent and blue for not so hot. So you did really successful against not the best of pitching or not the best of hitting. You did really great against the best or whatever. Like, fine, just let us know. But at least now we know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Exciting. I'm so excited. And these are going to be such good arguments. And hopefully they won't involve car bombs. Hopefully these will be good arguments, and not will blow you up if you don't agree with us arguments. The other thing that I'm really looking forward to, that I am genuinely looking forward to, is the
Josh Bell to the Washington Nationals.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. But let me finish. Okay. I have like one more thing I really want to say about the Negro Leagues. Getting official imprimatur from whoever it is who gets to do that, right? I think that the players themselves, the current players who are on teams and taking the field nowadays, I think that even when they are ambivalent about race, they love baseball. They love baseball and they want to play and they want to be the best. And that's why we root for them. And that's why we love them, and they're going to start finding out about things like shadow ball. And they're going to want to do it. They're going to say, let's do that because that's cool. We can do something cool with baseball. And I think that we are, as people without time machines, going to have an opportunity to watch shadow ball exhibitions.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And the major leaguers are going to want to do it. These young guys, they're going to be like, oh, that is so cool. Let's do that. And we're going to see it. And I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited.
Explain shadow ball to our Legion of Fans.
Yep.
No, I'm saying, Beth, explain shadow ball to our Legion of fans.
Oh, shadow ball. Shadow ball is getting together on a field before the game starts and having an absolutely wild exhibition with no ball.
Correct. You're throwing a ball that does not exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And players are having to imagine the ball being there and perform.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And just the I don't know, just the exuberance, the whole idea of we don't have to worry about an actual ball, you know, that you get to do things so acrobatic and exciting and tricky and you know, one-upmanship. You know, look, I just did this thing behind my back and then I did 4 backflips. What can you do? You know, pass the ball, you know, and what can you do? And what can you do? And you get just this incredibly exciting exhibition.
These players doing this it was like an acrobatic dance performance.
Yes.
On a baseball field.
Yes, done by some of the most agile guys you will ever see in your life with your own eyes, you know. I have always wished that I could.
There are reports of people who've seen this who thought they really thought they could see a ball. Like they thought there had to be a ball there and there was no ball there.
It was so convincing. Yeah. And this, I'm just dying to see this. I'm dying to see this. And I believe we will, because I really believe in the excitement that these players have over being able to do something new in baseball. You know, and they can't do this stuff during a game. They have to get so buttoned down. So often, right? And they have to work hard, and I accept that. I understand that, and I want.
Well, also during a game, they can't pull a hammy trying to do like a one-legged backflip after throwing a ball from left field to the shortstop. Like you can't risk $30 million doing that, right? Like that's the issue.
With you know, but you can put on a show. You can put on a show before the game or after the game, whatever you like, you know. But you can put on a show, and we're going to get to see it. Some of the best players of our time, and we're going to get to see them do fun things. I'm positive this is going to happen. You don't have to wait for Black players to do it. You just have to wait for players, and I think they'll do it. Yeah.
I think, in fact, once the Black and Latin players begin to do it, you're going to find a white player who's like, this is actually fun.
Yeah.
Throw it to me.
Yeah, throw it to me.
I want to do a front dive roll when I throw it back, right? Like you're going to get that.
And then they'll start having teach-ins in the clubhouses, and guys will be like, hey, where do I sign up? That really sounds like fun. Let's go do it. Like, you're not better than me. I'm better than you. And then that starts, and we got it made. We got it made. So I'm very excited about that. So I do see some really good things coming out of this. I guess we could say that we have been skeptical, cynical, and very enthusiastic and excited like little children all at the same time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what this all means. And we've got some questions. But mostly I'm excited to see it unfold. Very excited to see it unfold, even though I know that there's probably can't aim too high for too much, because that high hanging fruit, maybe MLB won't go after it just yet. But this is a great thing. This is a truly great thing, and I'm so glad about it. And I guess a spillover effect, if we can call it that. I really do think that Black Lives Matter is leaders. They're leaders in the sense of reminding us that all lives matter. That it's not just that we got an issue with Black lives, but we got an issue with Indian lives. We got an issue with women's lives. We got an issue with children's lives.
Certainly do. Yeah.
Yeah. They're very thoroughly understanding of how many people are struggling to get equal footing in this country. And so here we are with a reaction in Cleveland. And finally.
Finally.
Yeah, and I know that there's maybe some belief that Cleveland is saying they're going to do this, but they're not really going to do it.
I think Cleveland's going to do it, but they're just not going to do it. They're going to be the Cleveland Indians for one more year while they figure out a name. And it's like, come on, like it used to be, we're going to change your name, and they just changed the freaking name, right? Now it's like, we gotta have discussions. We got to come up with a good one.
Yep.
I heard like some of the Cleveland Spiders.
And
I was like, why not the Cleveland Spiders?
They probably put in all those orders for caps and jerseys and already that are non-refundable.
Right.
So that's why they have to wait another
Really
year.
what I think I think what they want is they want the rush of folks buying the last of the Indian stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
They're gonna
that's what they want. They want the people running out to spend money on the last of the racist crap. So that's really it.
Okay, so what's the deal with the Spiders?
Well, right now there's a list of potential names that are up there that people are suggesting. Like, I don't even think Cleveland's announcing what the front runners are because we're just too soon, right?
Right.
I don't know why the spiders. I just know there are no major league, there are no professional sports spiders. So
Right.
why not the spiders?
Right. It's all yours. Yeah. Now
You know?
that is that some people have some pretty deep horror of spiders. There could be guys where you could not talk them into getting dressed if they had a spider on their jersey. Which I can actually slightly.
I'm sure there's other things in professional sports that are mascots or whatever that are also things people are afraid of, though.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. There's got to be snakes out there too, right?
There's the Diamondbacks. You know, the Diamondbacks exist. Exactly. I have a friend who won't go into the ocean, and there's a whole lot of teams named after ocean stuff.
Now I know that fish out there. Back when we thought, oh, the Cleveland Squids. Squids don't have anything to do with Cleveland though. Back when we thought that this was an impossibility, we wanted them to call themselves the Flames or the Fire because of the river catching on fire.
Sure.
But that's probably not what Cleveland wants to be known or remembered for, because I bet you a lot of people have forgotten. So what is it with the Steamers? Because I really like the Steamers.
Wait.
The Cleveland Steamers.
Have you Googled that?
I have not. I just saw it on Twitter, and I thought,
Google
okay,
that.
probably it's not about steamships or
no.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what I thought it was. I thought, well, all right, we're not talking about the river being on fire, but we could talk about the steamers going up and down the river. So, do I not want to see this on?
Well, I want you to see it on Zoom.
Oh, I see. Okay, probably can't actually do it because Major League Baseball is a family-friendly sport. I gotta say, that is some attitude for winning. And
can you see it the first time the Cleveland Steamers actually get to the World Series? Major League Baseball just being like, damn it. We were hoping they'd go through another 100 years of losing.
If they get to the World Series, I can tell you with complete confidence that Joe Buck can handle it. And I'm not sure that John Smoltz can.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
They might have to replace Smoltz for those broadcasts, but Joe Buck, he'd be fine. He could totally handle it.
That was priceless. Yeah. That was priceless. I thought when you were texting me about it earlier, I thought Beth thinks this is as funny as I do.
No, I really thought that they were talking about.
She thinks it's about steamships.
I was saying, yeah, like those old Mark Twain like things going up and down the Mississippi, but these guys are on the Cleveland River, and it's like, oh yeah, all right, because it's like pirates. You can get a lot of really fun stuff out of steamers. But well, okay, if that's what they mean, and even if it isn't what they mean, they probably need to be aware of that. So. All right, so in that case, we're back to spiders.
Yeah. Spiders and front runners again. That's how we get here.
How we get here? Yeah. Oh yeah, spiders. Okay, so that takes us back over to Josh Bell because the two ways. First of all, you foreshadowed it, and second of all, because if they were steamers like ships with Mark Twain ramifications, then they would be as cool as the pirates. But as it is, the pirates are still the coolest mascot, the coolest name, and one of the coolest stories. A lot of teams have good stories, but pirates, man, pirates.
I think my problem with the Mariners is that they have that cool compass as their logo, but their emblem or whatever, but they don't have an actual mariner. And I think having a cool kind of a sea-going dude with a cutlass or rapier or something would be awesome.
Yes.
Full skin coat, you know what I mean?
But it can't be pirate derivative. It has to be independent.
No, because a mariner can be an explorer.
Yes.
A pirate is a crook.
Yes.
Right? So we leave the crooks to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
But Seattle gets the Pacific Ocean explorer dude. I'm fine with that.
Yep. Yeah, we could do that. Well, no, pirates were also runaway slaves. And
that's true.
Runaway women.
Yep.
So not as many women ran away.
I haven't done a crap ton of pirate research, but I did watch every season of Black Sails almost to the end.
All right.
You can learn a lot about fictionalized pirates on television.
Yes, you do. So
cable TV.
yes, but so are the people they ran away from. Let's put it that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Legitimate sailing crookery. Yeah, terrible stuff. So Pirate's still coolest, you know.
Yes.
Besides, as a cartoon character, a pirate's pretty fun.
Yeah.
As
so your boy,
what?
Your boy Josh Bell.
Yeah.
Has actually he's been traded.
Yes.
Because I think free agents, people still aren't making no moves really happening in free agency yet. So he had to get traded.
But Josh Bell, we talked about him last time. Last time we were talking. Josh Bell.
We're very happy for Josh Bell.
We talked about him a couple times during the season as well. You know, during the shortened season, because Josh Bell, player I really like and have for some time, because I really like the Pirates. What can I say? He just looked lost. He was the player more than any other last season who made me feel like his mother. I just wanted to go hug him and say it's going to be okay. And he just looked younger every time I saw him at the plate. He just looked younger. He started to look scared, and it was really, really breaking my heart. And
but now he's going to play with some like real dudes. This is great. This is gonna be awesome.
He's got big shoes to fill, because the other part of Josh Bell, of course, is Howie Kendrick retiring.
Yes.
I have to say goodbye to Howie after many years of
18 years in the league or something.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about Howie Kendrick, we add more years to the time he was in the league.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I know. We kept making him older too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Howie. I hope we didn't cause you to retire. You know, you woke up one morning, you said like, man, I feel like I'm 45 years old. Why?
Oh, seriously, I've been in the league 25 years.
But yeah, it's hard to see the ones you really love and that you've rooted for 18 years.
I swear that dude played with Garrett Anderson.
Yeah, I wanted to do He did.
That's a long time. Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah. I think they were on the Angels together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. And so he's out, and that's okay. I'll be interested to see how second base plays out this coming season. But I'm very excited about Josh Bell being there, mostly for Josh Bell. I don't know if he's like the big solution that the Nationals are saying that he is. I don't know if he's like the big trade, but he's going to be in a place where he has a much better chance to play well.
And he's a young dude with a lively bat who plays multiple positions. So like he can play a middle infield and a corner position. So like as far as I'm concerned, that's a great asset to have.
Yep.
In this era of baseball,
position he can play middle infield, right? He could.
Yeah, I think he can play second. I think he can play second and first.
Okay. So he could take over second, because I wondered if Josh Bell wasn't just kind of replacing Adam Eaton. But if he has more defensive skills, then he's an upgrade from Adam Eaton. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be good to see Josh Bell looking confident. It's going to be good to see Josh Bell coming to bat and looking out there at
to me, he's a better hitter than Adam Eaton. So like Adam Eaton's a solid guy to have on your team, but Josh Bell's a reliable, great hitter.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Well, I think he's younger than Adam Eaton.
Yes, he's younger than Adam Eaton, so he's got more years in him, and we don't know. I mean, I hope Adam Eaton is Nationals Adam Eaton with the White Sox.
With the White Sox, or at least goes back to being White Sox Adam Eaton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or
White Sox before, you know.
Not asking a bit much though, given that he's older and he's gotten pretty badly hurt once and hurt again.
Yes, multiple times.
Yeah. So we'll see, but yeah, he's an anchor. He's an emotional and I guess kind of like a spiritual anchor, right? I mean, we see him and Howie Kendrick, you know, driving the bus there and the Nationals dugout. You realize how much he contributes to the mentality of a team. Right. And the White Sox, I mean, you can't have too much of that. I don't know that White Sox needed it, but you can't have too much of that, right? Just bring the fun. Just be solid, be strong, and bring the fun, you know. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Josh Bell reacts to being on a team like the Nationals. Yeah, I really am. I'm really happy about this, because I won't have to be sad anymore, and I won't have to feel like some player's mom, which I didn't like. Yeah.
I mean, he's got like Juan Soto and Victor Robles, and like he's got a good team to play with. So this is great.
Yeah. And
I'm looking forward to watching Nationals.
Some kind of shortstop over there too, right? With Trey Turner, and if he and Turner can get a good thing going at second and short, then hey, yeah.
That's a solid core. I like it.
Okay, so we're happy about that. So I think we have exhausted our agenda.
Woot!
I think in 2 weeks there'll be another full one. But yeah, we got the important stuff today. We got Negro, we got the Negro Leagues, we got Cleveland, and we got Josh Bell.
In fact.
Yes, that's good.
Sign us out, Beth.
All right. Well, just to wrap, Negro Leagues, Let's be happy about this. Yeah. You talk about
Awesome.
about love, you know. I remember sitting with my mother-in-law one day, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I was sitting with my mother-in-law one day when she just moved into her assisted living facility. We were having lunch and I said to her, I looked at her and I said, Buck O'Neill. And she started to cry. And so did I.
Oh.
And what were those tears about? We just were so, he was just so beautiful. It just, his face was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Make us cry. So this is good. And I hope he's a very happy man today.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And that's the love, people. Thank you so much for listening. Spread the word and turn
into the love.
Turn into the love. Until next time.